I'm a big believer in flooring like novelty leagues, like cruise leagues. My center was in Dallas, so we did like a Dallas Cowboys league where like the winning team got like 50-yard line tickets in a limo ride, but
Wow.
everybody in the league got some tickets where there was nosebleeds and things. And
Yeah.
if
It's
you can
cool.
capture, and I encourage centers, we run ads like that for them, where you determine like what kind of market you want to go after. If it was families, you can do things like a Build-A-Bear party type league where all the
Yeah.
kids at the end of the thing go to Build-A-Bear and pick out their bear. Just pick a promotion on one side that matches who you're trying to pair it with,
Yeah.
and put them in for an 8-week program, and they have that thing to look forward to the end. And then you've got really the 8 to 12 weeks of league bowling. That's not your traditional. It's getting harder and harder to get those 36
Yeah.
weekers. That it's a tough sell to new people, but those novelty programs seem to work well for me when we roll those
Mhm.
out.
Yeah. Just like a shorter social, non-sanctioned kind of league.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yep.
see those working really well, especially if you can get it more towards the food and beverage component. You
Mhm.
have that at your center. So we at one of our centers, that's the biggest league by far. Its waiting list is this social average Joe's league.
Nice.
So
Very
those
nice.
really seem to be popular.
Yeah, and that's good. One thing I realized as well, coming from the USBC, was that we have a tendency in our industry, mostly the traditional guys, right? We think of league bowlers as people who want competitive play. And
Mhm.
it's a small piece. It is a piece, and it's a small piece. And in my center,
Mhm.
we did have a couple of the highest caliber junior leagues as well as high caliber men's leagues. But there are people that are willing to bowl 16 weeks, 32 weeks, year round, that really are coming for the camaraderie, the social aspect, the food and beverage. And just because they don't want to aspire to be a professional or they
Mhm.
don't average 200 doesn't mean that they're not, if you can plant the seed in them, they are still willing to stay around a long time year after year. Probably our biggest long-standing league was a Chamber of Commerce league that was made up of just local dentists and
Mhm.
chiropractors and oil change places that had their own like retro bowling shirts and things. They ate a bunch, drank a bunch, had a great
Yeah.
time. They wanted the music on. And I think for a lot of the old schoolers, it's kind of hard to grasp sometimes that, hey, people may just want to partake in your center week after week, and maybe they don't care so much about lane conditions. And not that you should neglect that, but
Sure.
just to kind of be open-minded about that type of stuff. So I'm saying, like,
Yeah, I mean, what's the statistic? I think it's 67 or maybe 70 million people bowl a year. It's the most accessible sport in the country. So there's a lot of people out there who are just happy to do it for fun and
yeah,
not necessarily from a competitive standpoint.
yeah, and I mean, it's supposed to be fun, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
you're not having a good time at it, I mean, like, who's gonna? I mean, there may be a rare person that says, "I'm gonna go with the goal of having a miserable time for 36
Yeah.
weeks, and then complain about it, and then sign up for summer and have a miserable time for 12 weeks, and then
Sure.
hey, when do we start?"
Not
Because
like,
I mean,
yeah.
I know some people that kind of fall in that trap sometimes, but I think
Mhm.
ideally we hope they're getting some value out of spending their money at our center and coming week after week, and
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what they're buying, right? You don't leave with anything you got except for the memory and the experience. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what you're selling as a center.
Yeah. But I have a question I usually ask some of my prospective clients, and it was something I stood by in my center too, was I kind of asked them, hey, so like what kind of guarantee do you have, right? And mostly talking about like league play, for example. And
Yeah.
so it's like they can give 2 weeks notice and drop the league. And I was like, would you feel confident enough in your product that you could actually offer a money back guarantee, no strings attached, to any league bowler, right? A newbie, an experienced person, whatever, right? And I think that's a good question because oftentimes it seems like we're trying to plug a hole, meaning, hey, I need 2 teams on Wednesday night to fill this out. But
Mhm.
we kind of know that if they're newish or they're looking for social and we put them in the wrong league, it's not really serving anybody because they're not going to be as happy. Some of the more diehards get frustrated because they don't know lane courtesy and things like that, and it ends up kind of being like a toxic thing, right? So,
Yeah.
like at my center, I always had a money back guarantee, like the first 4 weeks of bowling. Uh, any reason, whatever, just
Yeah.
bring it to our attention. If you're not happy, let us try to address it. If not, all your money back, all your prize fund, because
Yeah.
we don't want to have like sour people because that's negative word of mouth and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it keeps you honest,
Keeps you honest too, right?
keeps you guys on your toes.
And you should look at yourself because if your regular bowlers are telling you, man, I can't stand bowling here because the shot's inconsistent. I can't stand bowling here because your lanes break down. If you hear it enough and they're still there, it's a great chance to fix it, but they're not going to stay forever, even if
Mhm.
there's minimal competition. And so I'd love to tell the story. We had our center about 10 years and we had that guarantee. In the whole 10 years, one person had reached the point of where he was ready Ironically, he was bowling I think 5 or 6 leagues in my center.
Okay.
And right, so he was probably one of our best customers. And the funny thing was, a lot of the things that he would bring up actually that frustrated him really were true. And he was there because he saw it. And he was there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. If he's in 6 leagues,
But
he said a
when
lot.
we got to the point of where we realized, hey, there's no way he's going to be happy, because you can't have the lowest prices and the best service. You can't have, you just, there's certain things you can try your best, but you just can't achieve certain
Yeah.
things, right?
What's it? It's pick 2 out of 3. You get quality,
Exactly.
speed, and service.
In service, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
too.
It's pretty much, my manager said, hey, I mean, I love him, but I can't deal with them. So I talked to him. I said, man, look, I honestly really do value your input, because you're here a lot and you see things even when I'm not here. You see stuff, right? But you know, there's no holy grail place that can do all this 100% of every time. I don't want you to be frustrated. I love you as a customer, but you know, I'm perfectly happy to give your money back, because it's kind of starting to get out, right, and starting to affect others and stuff like that, and morale and
Mhm.
things. And
Yeah.
we had addressed stuff that needed addressing. And so I basically had a checkbook and I was ready, and he basically refused to take the check. And
He
he
just
said,
wants
"No,
to be
man."
heard.
And all of a sudden, he loved it. I love it here, man.
Yeah.
I apologize. I get frustrated sometimes,
Mhm.
and maybe I should practice more. And so it's kind of funny to kind of confront stuff professionally. But
Yeah.
if you need to, you should never want to have to hold a customer hostage.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a great lesson in service too. Sometimes you just need to acknowledge the people and make them feel heard, that you
Yep.
understand their frustrations, and sometimes
Yep.
that's enough. Just to they're good. That's all they wanted. Hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 10 of them a week. Subscribe to learn more and keep learning about what's working in the industry. Talk to you then.